It is 1 o'clock on the West Coast. You know what, I just realized I'm taking off my flip-flops right now so they don't make noise, but the action itself made this flash of like Mr. Rogers. It's a beautiful day in this digital neighborhood. A beautiful day to be a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Oh, St. Rogers. I love him and miss him so. When I say miss, I don't really mean miss. I've talked about that in the past, but what I really mean is I lovingly bring memories of his into my present moment. Before we get officially started, let's have a moment of intention, a grace, a prayer, a meditation moment, a recalibration. So wherever you are, become aware of this moment. Aware of your body in this moment, the angle of your posture, where your body is touching your body. My hands on my knees, my arms at my side. Be aware of your feet touching the ground, rooting you. Be aware of your seat in the chair. Any other sensation that you're aware of. Be aware of all the sounds flooding your world, all the vibrations. My voice coming through this digital medium, being reproduced and hitting your earwaves, little caressing sound vibrations that we're all sharing regardless of where we are physically. Be aware of car noises, breeze, any chirping animal, my bubbling fish tank, more cars, more cars. The unique sound that each car makes, the pitch, the rumble, the squeak. I can hear my own breath. I can notice the different sound it makes on inhale and on exhale, whether it's mouth or nose. As we sit in this present moment, this now that is so full and so perfect, be aware that there is nothing lacking in this now moment. This is your safety net. This is your parachute. This is your go-to place when you feel yourself unhappy or stressed or freaked out or worried, return to where you are right now, this awareness, this now, and figure out what is lacking in this now. It's possible there's something like a hunger pain that you're feeling, but in this now moment, is it killing you? No, you're just aware of it. There is nothing lacking in this now moment. On the contrary, it is so full. Everything that is in our immediate surroundings has a story behind it. Everything has a living process that's happening. Even inert things like dirt are thriving with reactions and critters. And so, as we focus on this now and try to shed away any of the stuff, to-dos, lists, identities, responsibilities that we have been carrying with us 24/7, let's practice letting go of them for just a moment at a time, a few minutes. You can take back your pack and put it back on as soon as we're done. You can blame me if you need to. And be aware that in this now moment, you can take any direction of your focus and just dive into it. Whether it's a sensation, whether it's a memory that you've pulled into this now, of a person, of an experience. Try to think of something that happened this last week that was awesome. Not the most awesome, just something awesome. I'm thinking about when I was playing on the slide with my nephew Carter at his birthday party. And as I think about it, I can start pulling in more and more details of that experience. The way he would turn himself around before going down the swing again, the smile on his face, the confidence as he would get going, the smile that was changed as he went down the slide, the way his clothes fit him, his adorable little shoes, his dangerously mullet-like hairdo, the twinkle in his eyes, little sounds he makes. When we can have that option to bring in such wonderful, wonderful brain spirings at any time, we need to be really disciplined about when we do anything but that. Whether we do anything but focusing on wondrous things in our now or bringing in beautiful things from our memories. There are reasons to do other things and bring in things that are less pleasant or focus on things that require action to make them more pleasant. But those are the exception. So for just a few more seconds, let's just sit in the awareness of this deep, full, rich now moment. And be aware that regardless of where you are physically, we are sharing this moment with huge-hearted, loving ambassadors of this vibe. And if you're watching this on an archive, the now moment that you are experiencing right now is connected to the now moment that we are experiencing right now in intention, in vibration, in all the ways except the chronology of the ticking clock, which is a human invention in the first place. Thank you, God, universe, unbegun beginning, divine, and flow, for all these gifts. Help us to stay present and aware of all the miracles. Help us to appreciate the miracles in every moment. Amen. Welcome. And welcome to HugNation. Okay, a bunch more people filtered in during the meditation. Welcome, everyone. I was going to mention a little bit today about I'll use a visual aid. Dun 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 dun. What's this, you say? Well, it's a book. A little bit later, I'd like to maybe read something from it. If you follow me online, you probably read some, if not all, of these things. But it's bigger than this, because let me tell you what happened. So, I was getting ready to after Burning Man, I was editing this and kind of uploading the newest version of the edit. I made a copy of this just to kind of get myself started, and then I made a bunch of edits and had a more, like, took some things out and changed the order, but for some reason I didn't re-upload it. I didn't make it available. And while I was at Burning Man, I brought the first version that I had, the first copy, and it was all marked up with my edits on it, and I just brought it because I figured, well, I'll leave it at camp or maybe put it out so some friends could look at it or check it out, or I don't know. It just felt like I should. But by the last day of the week, I still had not. I saw it and I had never brought it out, and I was like, oh. And then a couple minutes later, I was in a conversation with several people that was their first year. And I started just kind of, talking about this week and the experience and the lessons and the magic. And everyone was really into it, but there was one woman who was, I think she was 21 years old, and her eyes were just like, like so on fire, and it was so, I mean, I almost, couldn't keep talking just because it was so, like, her excitement and her, it was so obvious how lit up she was. And after I left the conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, it so suddenly became clear, like, I'm supposed to give her the book. So, went to my tent, grabbed the book that had not been taken out yet, and gave it to her. And she apparently, read through it on the way home, and then a couple days later, she contacted Dimitri, she knew better than I, and said, that was exactly what I needed to read, it was perfect for the timing of it. I want to give some copies to my friends. How do I get more copies? And he was like, you can't, but I'll mention it to Halcyon. And it's amazing how significant that was for me, because then what happened was, I've been so scared to not make the perfect book. And as long as I never publish it, then I can hold on to the idea that as soon as this goes to print, then, the skies and the heavens will part, Oprah will invite me onto her couch, and it was just, the world will suddenly just start singing songs of what an incredible writer I am and everything. But as long as I never publish it, I never have to deal with the fact that that ain't gonna happen. I can still hold on to this dream, this fantasy, and my ego can stay intact. But when I was given this information, like, hey, this person wants to get some more copies from your book, and actually Dimitri loaned the book to somebody else who also asked, how can I get a couple copies of this? And something just clicked into my head. For almost everything that I do, in terms of online things and videos, and these gatherings here, I try not to pay attention to how many people are watching, how many people view a video, how many people read something, because I find that just does not serve me. I find that I do much better if I just try to create what feels right, what resonates most with me, and then if anybody resonates with it, then it's like, yes! The big turnaround for me was several years ago, when I was doing the event, where I'd slowed down on it, but I was still involved with Globalgasm, which was something that I invented, well, not invented, but a few of us at the Real House kind of created this event, and the idea was to intentionally join together in a sexual experience using webcams and intention and all sorts of stuff to kind of raise positive energy around the world. It was a beautiful thing. And then, after doing it for a couple of years, there was another organization that started something called Global Orgasm. And they, however, had an incredible press person on their team. And so they got mentioned all over the place. Magazines, Jay Leno mentioned them, all sorts of stuff. And so I started getting all these notes from people going, hey, I saw your thing on here, I read about it in here, and I read about it. And it was like, and every time I would go check, and it was like, no, it was the other people. Oh, it was the other people. And then I started to get, and I got really frustrated. And there was this event, and then all these people, and this woman says, you are so focused on trying to get a larger audience that you don't even notice that there are people around you that totally get what you are saying. And it was like, I was like, I'm totally in a trap right now. I am in a metaphorically in a small club, the belly up, playing my tunes, and there are people dancing, totally into it on the dance floor, just singing along and dancing to my music. And then in my head, I'm not even there. I'm like thinking, man, why can't I play a big stadium? When am I going to be able to play a big stadium crowd? And once I had that visual, and once I had that awareness, I was like, it just snapped. It was just everything. I changed. Stopped looking at stats. Stopped checking. Stopped caring really about that style of success, and started measuring it not on the degree or the scope or the size of audience, but on the integrity and whether or not it's resonating with anyone. So if I write something or make a video and anyone says, feels like it sparked them, or it got their vibration going, or it solidified or helped them understand something better, well then that is a win. Anybody else beyond that is just syrup on a big old hot stack. Hot stack? Tall stack? Tall stack of hot cakes? I don't know. I want to start using syrup instead of it's all gravy. I'm not sure if that works, but it's all syrup at that point. Yeah, any case. So, I pretty much have been really good about that in almost all aspects of my creative process, except for this book. The book is something that I've never been able to do. But when I got the message, hey, this woman was curious about how she could get more copies, it reminded me, like, oh my gosh, the book is no different. Somebody has just proven to me and broken my spell and said, I resonated with this and I would like to share this. So then it doesn't matter what else happens. It's already a success. It is, before any of you, even if you've ordered it, receive the book, it is a success. I was so concerned with everyone liking it that I was afraid to let anyone see it. I would almost sometimes get these visuals of people I know that I respect kind of looking at it and going, really? I had such higher expectations. I just thought, And the truth is, I'm sure that will happen. And I'm sure people will call it trite and regurgitated and whatever, but it doesn't matter. Because I'm back in tune with what success is. And all these things started just feeling like, it just feels right, it just feels right. Like, how do you know when you're in the flow? When everything just feels right. And so I said, you know what? Enough dabbling around. I'm going to just make the link live and say it's published. Okay, it's available. And right when I was getting ready to say, okay, it's live on Facebook, and I was getting ready to post it, and I was like, wait a minute. And I think the way I changed the way I wrote it. I go, one small click for Facebook, one giant leap for my personal growth. And the reason is because a book has been the thorn in my side for the last 20 years. For the last 20 years, writing a book has been something that I wanted to do, that I said I was going to do. There have been times when I've taken breaks of unemployment. There have been times when when people say, what are you up to? I tell them I'm working on my book, or I'm writing a book. And whenever my depression or my funk or my negative impulses would start to kick in, my self-saboteur, the first thing it would go to when it went to like knock me down and make me feel worse about myself, it'd be like, oh, by the way, how's the book coming? Oh, you haven't finished the book? Yeah, big surprise. Like, what else aren't you going to finish? What else are you going to slack on? What else do you lack the self-discipline to do? And so, as of whatever day it was that I hit click, my inner voice is suddenly without one of its biggest weapons that it used against me. Not only that, even if it finds another weapon and says, when are you going to do that? Now I can say, who knows? Sometimes things take me 20 years. What's the hurry? The point is, it'll get done if it's supposed to get done. So shush, little voice. Now, is this the book that I thought I was going to write? No. And one of the things that I would get so down on myself about is like, I have a hard time focusing on one topic for a really long time. So rather than change myself, I changed my concept of what the book would be. So it's a collection of essays. And this is all, I think most of these were written since starting my coaching. So I started coaching, I mentally hired myself as a writer and wrote essays in the mornings during my morning pages kind of experience. And so it's everything about it is this massive reminder of kind of forgiving myself, relaxing, releasing, and things will happen as they're supposed to happen.
You only live once. Enjoy the color.